Although Hasbro has most likely let the cat out of the bag as far as the first 3 Star Wars spin-offs go, there's still a wealth of story ideas, characters, and existing source materials that people want to see adapted. I'm going to talk about 3 of them. Or 4? Let's just see how this goes. I'm pretty tired. Obi-Wan Kenobi is great. And kind of a shit bloke. He has a history of flat out lying, plus withholding some vital information.
He's my brother.
That being said, what a great character and perfectly cast in both film series. One thing the prequel trilogy got wrong, however, is how underdeveloped the character was. So why can't we see the definitive Obi-Wan Kenobi story? Set as many have suggested, between episodes 3 and 4. Ewan McGregor would obviously return, something he's open to.
If they needed Obi-Wan Kenobi, I would rather it was me than someone else. I mean, of course.
Would you be annoyed if they recast it?
Yes, I'd be furious. How dare they recast it? Of course I would.
And this makes even more sense considering Alec Guinness is dead and hates Star Wars. Look at that face. Pure disgust. So yeah, you set it on Tatooine. Make Obi-Wan, hero of the Republic, a broken man. Unforgiven style. You depict him as someone who's living with the knowledge that he maimed his once best friend and played a massive part in pretty much handing the worst guy in the galaxy the role of Emperor. He'd feel terrible about himself. As he bloody should! And almost as a sort of punishment, is forced to watch the Republic morph into a twisted dictatorship from the shittiest seat in the galaxy. The story would only need to be that of a local one. Perhaps he goes up against a criminal organization, but initially he lacks his former confidence and has a reluctance to use the Force. Maybe out of shame, maybe out of fear of being discovered as a Jedi. Probably not the second one though, because he still wears those robes. That's like not wanting anyone to know you're a doctor, but still wearing a white coat and a stethoscope around your neck everywhere you go. Anyways, the movie would build to him as the confident, limb-chopping, wizened Jedi we meet in A New Hope. Also, they could totally throw in that story about a robot-legged Darth Maul who comes looking for him, and is then shot in the head. Spoiler alert? There are so many Star Wars games. At least 5. Some good, some great. Some based on a board game that's an alternative take on another board game. I've played this, by the way. It's really terrible. Whilst many are pushing for a Knights of the Old Republic movie, which would be great, I'd rather see the character of Kyle Katarn brought to the big screen. Popularized in the Dark Forces games from the mid-90s to the early 2000s, Kyle Katarn is part Han Solo, part Luke Skywalker, and all man.
I'm not interested in leaving. I have some business to conclude with your friend, 88.
If you were going to do a movie set during the events of the original trilogy, or just after, this is the guy you get. Most famously played by Jason Court in Dark Forces 2, he began as a lowly Imperial stormtrooper, was the one who originally stole the Death Star plans, he's tangled with Boba Fett, defeated a crew of Dark Jedi, turned to the dark side and back again, and sits on the new Jedi Council at the bequest of Luke Skywalker. Fun fact, Dark Forces 2 was also the first time since the original trilogy that the use of live-action lightsabers were used. I like this guy so much that I'd be happy to have him as just a background Jedi character in Episode 7. But if there was ever an expanded universe video game guy who should get his own film, it's Kyle Katarn, or Galen Marek. He's great, even if his games mostly amount to what feels like hitting guys with a glowing stick. Lastly, we have Wraith Squadron, a ragtag group of fighter pilots as seen in Book 5 of the X-Wing series. Assembled by Wedge Antilles, the only rebel pilot to survive all 3 original films, who was then bestowed with the greatest honor of all, a congratulating Wedge trading card. But yeah, assembled by Wedge Antilles, the idea behind this team was to clump together this ragtag group of flyers, most of which are considered reckless and probably crazy, but with specific skills that make them unique to an X-Wing squadron. And unlike other X-Wing teams, they double as a commando unit, meaning they could, say, complete a bombing run on an Imperial base, land, and then point blank shoot anyone that's left. Maybe this rumored Red 5 movie will take elements from this. After all, Red 5 is Luke's call sign from the first attack on the Death Star. Wedge, though, would have to be recast. The actor who originally played him, Dennis Lawson, who coincidentally is the uncle of Ewan McGregor, who he actually tried to talk out of joining the franchise, was offered the chance to return for Episode 7, but told Disney to jam it. Not in those words, but yeah. He Alec Guinness level of hates Star Wars. So I think this would be cool. Plus, Admiral Akbar's niece is part of the team, and she's probably all, it's a trap! There's certainly more Star Wars films that could be made that I want to talk about, so I'm definitely going to do another one of these videos. There's just a stack of ideas, one of which I've already talked about concerning Darth Vader. That video looks like this. You You can find it on my channel. Somewhere, I don't know. Also, thanks to my brother for recommending Wraith Squadron. Also, I did a podcast on this very topic. It was number 36 of the Weekly Planet. You can find it on the terrific comicbookmovie.com or iTunes or other places. It's a pretty good podcast, some say. I can't really say that because I'm in it, so yeah, it's fine. Question though, if you had to pick one of these 3 stories to get adapted into film, which would you choose? You can also say none of them and recommend your own, because you can do anything on the internet. No one's gonna stop you. Least of all me. You can leave your thoughts below or via my Twitter and Facebook pages, both ending in Mr. Sunday Movies, if you have anything to say about that. Thanks everyone. Enjoy your week.